How do you fight a war against a government with a military powerful enough to level nations? Simple. You don't. Instead, you go for the one thing the system can't function without: your data. After all, the machine can't run if you turn it against itself. For decades, society wasn't just governed, it was studied, cataloged, reduced to points on a spreadsheet. Every click, every scroll, every angry reaction became another entry point in an algorithm of control. They watched you overlook gun violence, human rights violations, sex trafficking, and so much more. But when the government dare mess with your social media, it's war. The American government played its hand by trying to ban TikTok. They claimed it was to protect the Americans from Chinese manipulation and communism. But your data is worth more than any human life. They made China the enemy, communism the fear. The American government simply acting as a middleman for the tech bro oligarchs. The TikTok ban was never about protecting anything more than profit margins. And when a white American man can't compete, well, he just turns the whole game board over. When Americans realized who the real enemy was, they happily packed up their data and delivered it directly to the Chinese. Xiaohongshu, or the Little Red Book, has more culturally revolutionary significance than most American people even know. Americans en masse joined Xiaohongshu, the Little Red Book, en masse, seeing Chinese life up close. Americans discovered that the Chinese weren't huddled in food lines, oppressed by an all-seeing regime. No. Their lives looked healthier, happier, and wealthier than their own. The propaganda wasn't adding up. Was this the magic behind TikTok's amazing algorithm? An algorithm that in the wrong hands could turn to mass destruction. Are tech bros simply supervillains taking advantage of the American government's senility? But the tech oligarchs and the American government did not predict this act of civil disobedience, this new data point. Americans taking their data to the Chinese willingly will be seen as an act of war, of civil war, of terrorism, and they will respond. For a government so reliant on control, they suddenly look very out of control. We all know when a bully is bullied, they will act out. After all, you've embarrassed them in front of the Chinese. Will the year 2025 be the marking point in American history where the people developed class consciousness? Americans are learning that the tools of their oppression could become the keys to their liberation. But the ruling class will not go quietly. There will be casualties. There will be civil unrest. But for the first time, the people see that playing by the rules of the game have gotten them nowhere. But are Americans really ready to go all the way to the end of this game? Stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, your data is your greatest weapon.